Welcome. Today we're going to be configuring the loadbalancer.org Enterprise VA100G. We're going to be doing some simple load balancing, right? Some very simple load balancing on some Microsoft IIS web servers. So really simple. Layer 7, port 80. Very simple. Let's get to it. Let's not waste no time. So here we are at the system overview. I've got a lot of virtual service, which may be confusing if you're new to load balancing or you're new to the appliance, but we will get into what they are and how this actually works. So this is the virtual service itself, and under there we usually have our reps or real servers underneath that. So it tells us that this particular service, as you can see, it's got one server, one real server. It's currently green, so we know it's up and we know it's working. So let's go into cluster configuration, and then once we're in cluster configuration, let's go to virtual services. And in virtual services, we're going to do add a new virtual service. So we're going to have to give that a name or a label for that virtual service. Very simple. And then we're going to have to give it an IP address. Right. And it's going to be on port 80. So nothing fancy. We're not going to do any advanced configuration. It's going to be in HTTP mode for now, because we're not going to be terminating this one. All right. So we're going to reload that particular HA proxy config. Didn't take too long, which is great, even with all the services I got. And then we're going to go under real servers, because I prefer going under there. We're going to add a new real server under our virtual service. And we're going to give that a label or a name. We're going to also give it an IP address. And we're going to leave the real server port blank. If we were doing, say, let's just say it was a requirement to have encryption and we've done SSL termination at the front end, and it's a requirement to encrypt it to the back end, that's when we tick re-encrypt to the back end. Otherwise, nothing to do here. And we'll probably change that port to 443 for the real servers. That's the only difference really. If we were doing encryption, but we're not doing encryption today. Maybe we'll cover that off, but it is in the manual or the documentation, the deployment guide, so have a look in there and it will cover that as part of the Microsoft IIS deployment guide. So once that's done, we're just going to reload. We're going to go to system overview and just check that out, and there we go. We have one VIP or virtual service and one real server. So as you can see, that is actually up and running. Okay, and what we're going to do is we can see one connection across there. That was me going to that particular server. So we went to the VIP address. We're just using the HTTP VIP address for this and the IP, and we can go to that, and then there you go, Bob's your uncle. We are hitting that real server. We got one connection. Okay, so we're going to add our second server or our secondary server, and then we can start making sure it's load balancing, right? So up to cluster configuration, layer 7 real servers, scroll down to the bottom, add our real server. We're going to give that a name. And then we're going to add our real servers in there as well, right? Just bear with me when I grab that. And again, leaving the port blank, click update. Reload HA proxy, which will reload our configuration, which is great. And if we go to system overview, there you can see we've got both our servers in the pool. Okay, so they are now under one VIP and we can test if they're load balancing, right? So remember those IP 202 and 203. So here we can see we're on 202 at the minute. Now at 203. Okay, so we know we're load balancing on those servers. Okay, so we're hitting the VIP, which is hitting the back end servers, because we're going flicking between the two. If I was to take, say, one of those servers out of play, see if I can, I'll try bringing up my console. I'm going to take out server 2, the one we just added. So I believe I may have it here. No, that's not that one. It's got to be this one. And let's just say I'm a really bad admin. I forgot to tell anyone. So I'm going to take this server out of service. So my IIS, secondary IIS server, I'm going to take out of service. Hopefully it gets the, yeah. The minute it's still showing it's up. Test that. And now it must be down because, you know what? I cannot get to that secondary website. So there you go, it's finally updated. And as you can see, there we go. We have one server is reported down. But because I've got a shared website across both, or access to it for my users to log in, it's actually still available on 202. So what we can then do is we can go back in, we can bring that server back up. There we go. Lots of windows. I'm going to power that server back up. I don't know why I've got my primary load balancer there, because I was working on that earlier. Okay, grab that window. Put him over there. Right, and as that server comes back up, if I can position that correctly, guys, see that? It should auto refresh and show me when that server comes back up. We should see it go green. Okay, 203. Well, just taking a while for my server to boot. That be their Windows. So that server is now available. So we're waiting for the health checks to pass. So the health checks is set, needs to pass. I think it does, I think 2 or 3. And there we go. And once that's passed, a couple of checks, it then brings that server back up into play. So there you go, it's back in the pool. And if we go back to our page, there you go, server is back in effect. How do we know that? IIS is back up and running because it's now going between 202 and 203. See over here. Fantastic. So simple, easy load balancing. Layer 7 on port 80. You know, very, very simple. Very, very simple, easy to do. So if you're currently looking to load balance, I guess, your IIS servers, then definitely check out the guides, the deployment guides, which we have on our website at loadbalancer.org. And there you could see the different methods we use. layer 4 DR mode, which is one of the fastest ways, but you do need to configure loopback adapters and make some changes. So you need to own these as well. You need to have admin access to make those changes at those backend servers. And if you're in a segmented network where you're just the, I don't know, guy who needs to set up the service from the networking team because you've been handed the load balancers, or if you're the guy who's the web server specialist, not the network specialist, so maybe you don't have access to, or you should have access, or at least admin rights to those servers. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. That is a consideration. So just make sure that when you're reading through the load balancing Microsoft IIS guide, that when you're determining, it's about what changes I can make to these servers that are going to really make the case for what method you're going to use, really. It could be SNAP mode or NAT mode for this. I prefer DR, really, because it's so quick, or layer 7, which really and truly requires little or no changes to the back end. Yeah, and that's a wrap for this video. Nice and sweet. Hopefully it's not too long. I think it's around 10 to 12 minutes, if that. So yeah, I'm gonna call that a stream, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll speak soon. Ciao.